Thank you very much, Minister, for being here. Thank you, Councillor, for allowing this very important issue to be raised on the floor of Dáil. First of all, I want to acknowledge the good work that is done by Kerry County councillors of all parties and none. And of course, I want to thank Michael Healy-Rae, councillor, for his efforts in this regard, because this is a very important subject, and I will tell you why. National policy and, of course, local policy then is directing people that there's this idea. I'm not saying I'm all in favour of it, but it is an idea that they want people to live in settlements. So we have smaller towns and areas, and some of them are big enough villages and gatherings of people that don't actually have any wastewater treatment. Now, it would frighten you if we thought of some of the places that actually don't. Places that are as famous and as well known as Caherdaniel, that has no wastewater treatment facility. And I'm not going to give you an exhaustive list, but I'm going to give you a flavour of the places I'm talking about. So Caherdaniel, Scarteglen, Corra, Corns, Beaufort, Headford, Spa, Asdee, Bannan, Camp, Faha, Fenwick, Glenflesk, Lisbole, Tussis, Timplenoe, Killinlee, Lark, Kilmoily, Chapelstown and Valentia, and Cremon.
You haven't done too badly there, though.
That's not an exhaustive list. That's just give you a flavour of the places that do not have a wastewater treatment facility. Now, what I would be saying to you is that as recently as when the county development plan was being discussed, the county councillors there were saying that they want wastewater treatment facilities to be put in place to allow these places to grow, and that people will be able to build their houses and connect to a main sewer. But what's happening is Oireachtas are saying, and they're justified in saying, it's not our responsibility because we don't have any network there. So where are we to get this prioritised? How are we going to get schemes going in those type of places? And I'm just going to pick one for an example, Caherdaniel, because that is in the heart of an area where I was very privileged and glad to be elected for a councillor for that area for many years. And at that time, we were raising the fact that when are we going to get a sewerage scheme for Caherdaniel? And we're still waiting for it. And God knows there's a lot of water gone under the bridge since. And there's a lot of other material gone somewhere as well, because there's no place else for it to go. And what I'm saying is, what are we going to put in place so that our councillors and our councils can prioritise it and not be getting this answer back from Oireachtas saying, nothing to do with us. We have no say, we have no role, we have no input into it. Go back to the department. That's not exactly very helpful to us. So my reason for pushing this here tonight, if we want to, and this is not for big schemes of houses now, I'm not talking anything like that. I'm talking about if we could get 5 or 10 homes built in those locations that I'm talking about now and connect up the existing homes. We'd be supporting the local shop, the local post office, the local GA team. We'd be keeping that fabric, that community, that spirit that Ireland is all about. We'd be keeping those people together. This is vital infrastructure, and that's why I'm respectfully asking you to deal with it here tonight, Minister, and I have every confidence in you that you will give me a positive response as to what way these excellent county councillors are to proceed with the problem that's facing them in each of their constituencies.
From one neighbour to another.
Thanks very much, Count Corla. And to thank Deputy Healy-Rae, and on behalf of Minister O'Brien, I'd like to thank the Deputy for raising this important issue and providing me with an opportunity to address the matter. The Programme for Government supports the uptake of Uisce Éireann's Small Towns and Villages Growth Programme 2020 to 2024. The programme provides water and wastewater growth capacity in smaller settlements that would otherwise not be provided in Uisce Éireann's capital investment plan. I understand that funding of almost €100 million has been approved by the Commission for Regulation of Utilities for the programme. Across the country, Uisce Éireann is working with local authorities to ensure that the investment is used to support the growth of identified settlements as prioritised in the local authority development plans. For example, in County Kerry, as part of the programme, a new wastewater treatment plant is to be built in Feenet, and Kingstown wastewater treatment plant is to be upgraded also. In addition to the work ongoing with Uisce Éireann, the Department's multi-annual rural water programme, using Exchequer funding, is also delivering improvements to water services, including wastewater, in areas of rural Ireland without public water services. On the 28th of April 2022, the Minister announced funding for a new measure under the multi-annual rural water programme for the wastewater collection and treatment needs of villages and settlements that do not have access to public wastewater services. An allocation of €50 million has been committed for this specific measure under the National Development Plan. The principal aim of the measure is to address environmental and public health issues in identified locations. The process involves local authorities working with communities and other stakeholders to progressively improve the wastewater treatment infrastructure needs of rural villages and settlements in parts of rural Ireland not currently serviced by Uisce Éireann. The aim is to ensure projects which might otherwise not be constructed by Uisce Éireann for some time to be developed now, and in doing so help make the village or the settlement a better and more attractive place to live. Using a demonstration project model approach under this funding stream will also assist the development of appropriate longer-term strategies and protocols which will better inform future funding needs in the area. In September 2022, the local authorities submitted requests for funding for specific projects in their respective areas. An independent expert panel has evaluated each application, and the Minister expects to be in a position to announce successful projects soon. It was a matter for Kerry County Council to decide which villages or settlements within their functional area met the criteria for funding under the measure and to make the application. Applications for Beaufort and Spa were received from Kerry County Council.
Deputy Healy-Rae.
Thank you very much, Councillor, and thank you, Minister. A very well-worded speech by somebody who didn't have an intimate knowledge of the villages and the settlements that I'm talking about in County Kerry, and I'll tell you why. The 50 million that you referred to, no one of those euros of that 50 million is earmarked for any one of the villages that I'm talking about here. Not one of them. And if I was living in any one of these settlements, and indeed last night I was in many of those settlements, and if anybody was looking in and listening, they'd say, well, where does that leave us? For example, the good people of Caherdaniel, or the people in Scartaglin, or the people in Corra or Corns, where is their money? And that's the question that I'm asking you. When are these people, when are they going to see investment in their localities? Because it's one thing for national policy to be hunting people, driving people, encouraging them, whatever words you wish to use, into these locations if we don't have the services and the facilities for them. And where, pray tell, are the famous Green Party, the people who want to protect the environment, the people who are boasting about protecting our waterways? Do they know that the biggest polluter in many cases is the actual local authority themselves, because they're allowing and actually nearly effectively encouraging wastewater to be let flow into rivers and streams because of not having a proper service there to treat the wastewater in those locations. So nothing that you said gives me encouragement, nothing that you said gives me confidence for the areas that I'm representing around the county. So I'm asking you, where is the money for those places? And could you please be a bit more definite, or go back to the person that wrote the speech and just ask him this question: where is the money?
Thanks, Chair. And I wish to thank the Deputy again for his comments, and I appreciate your interest in wastewater in rural Ireland without public water services, in parts of rural Ireland without public water services. I've listened carefully to what the Deputy has said, and I want to assure him that it will be kept in mind in the context of the evolving new funding measures. Whilst the Minister has responsibility in ensuring the overall funding for Uisce Éireann in respect of public water services and for the provision of funding under the Rural Water Programme, including for the new measure, the prioritisation of individual projects is a matter for the local authority, in the said case Kerry County Council. An independent expert panel was put in place to support the evaluation process for the funding under the multi-annual Rural Water Programme. In addition to providing an expert perspective, the panel brings independence, openness and transparency to the bids evaluation process, which is done on a national prioritised basis. The panel is independently chaired and its membership includes departmental, stakeholder and independent expert representation. The expert panel were tasked with making recommendations on the suitability of each project for funding. Their recommendations are based on a detailed examination of all the valid proposals received using the criteria set out in the framework document, which is given to all local authorities. The Deputy will appreciate that it is not possible for me to give any commitment regarding specific locations at this stage. Uisce Éireann also continues to work to eliminate any remaining issues in raw wastewater discharges in towns and villages not yet connected to a wastewater treatment plant. The plan is to eliminate all of these in the coming years and to prioritise those areas where it can make the biggest impact first.